I never imagined betrayal would arrive so quietly. No screaming, no slammed doors, no dramatic discovery. It came in the form of a voicemail played at half volume in a hotel hallway while I stood there in a suit I'd bought for a lifetime commitment that was already dead. The voice was hers, soft, familiar, comfortable in a way that no longer belonged to me, and the man she was talking to wasn't a stranger, it was her ex, the one she promised was ancient history. Yeah, that happened, 3 hours before our wedding. Up until that moment, I was the guy everyone described as lucky. Steady job, steady relationship, steady future. The kind of guy people don't worry about. I'd spent most of my life being underestimated, written off as quiet, predictable, harmless. And I leaned into that. I thought being calm meant being strong. I thought patience was proof of maturity. I thought love was about trust even when that trust made you look naive. Especially then. When I met Madison 2.5 years earlier, she fit into my life so easily it felt like fate doing me a favor. She was bright, ambitious, social in all the ways I wasn't. People said we balanced each other. What they really meant was she filled the room and I made sure it stayed standing. We didn't fight the way other couples did. No blow-ups, no public drama. We planned our lives like adults. Shared calendars, budget spreadsheets, conversations about kids that felt responsible instead of romantic. When she mentioned her ex, Ryan, it was always dismissive. A shrug, a half smile. Wrong time, wrong person, she'd say. I never pushed. I didn't want to be the insecure guy. I wanted to be the man who trusted his partner. Looking back, that wasn't confidence. That was me avoiding discomfort. The cracks didn't show all at once. They never do. They showed up as small absences. Phone calls taken in the other room. A laugh that arrived a beat too late. Stories that were just slightly over-explained like she'd practiced them. I noticed. I always notice. But I told myself weddings do weird things to people. Stress, pressure, expectations. I told myself love meant giving grace. What I didn't realize was that grace, when abused, turns into permission. The night before the wedding was chaos. Family everywhere, last-minute issues. Madison left the rehearsal dinner early, said she had a migraine. I stayed back to smooth things over, apologizing for her absence, defending her without being asked. When I got back to the hotel room close to midnight, it was empty. Her bag was gone. A note on the desk said she needed air, would be back soon. I waited. An hour passed. Then my phone buzzed, a number I didn't recognize. One sentence. You should hear this before you say I do. And an audio file underneath. I stood there for a long time before pressing play. Some part of me knew that once I did, there was no going back. The recording wasn't explicit. It didn't need to be. The tone told the whole story. Intimate, easy. Two people who never really ended things, just paused them until it was convenient. I felt something in me go very still. No panic, no tears, just clarity. Cold, precise clarity. This wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. And suddenly the wedding stopped being a celebration. It became a stage. When Madison came back, I didn't confront her. That surprised even me. She sat next to me, rested her head on my shoulder, whispered about how perfect tomorrow would be. I realized then that she believed she'd gotten away with it. That belief changed something in me. By morning, I wasn't deciding whether to cancel the wedding. I was deciding how to end a lie without letting it rewrite who I was. At the venue, everything looked exactly how it was supposed to. White flowers, soft music. Guests arriving in their best clothes, smiling unaware they were walking into the aftermath of a quiet disaster. Then I saw Ryan, standing near the back, relaxed, confident, like he belonged there. When our eyes met, he didn't look guilty. He smiled, and that was it. Any doubt I had left evaporated. This wasn't the past resurfacing. This was the present I hadn't been invited into. I asked a friend who was running the sound system for one favor. Full control when I gave the signal. No questions. He looked at my face and agreed. I wasn't angry, I was resolved. There's a difference. Anger wants to hurt back. Resolve just refuses to carry the weight anymore. The ceremony began. Guests sat. Music swelled. Madison walked down the aisle glowing every inch the bride people expected her to be. She took my hands. They were cold. The officiant spoke about love, trust, commitment. Each word landed like irony only I could hear. When it came time for my vows, I raised my hand. Just slightly. Enough to stop the flow. I need to say something first. You could feel the shift in the room. Confusion. Curiosity. Madison squeezed my hand. Whispered my name. I turned to the guests and spoke slowly. I talked about honesty, about how love can't survive on convenience, about how silence protects lies. Then I nodded toward the sound booth. The screen behind us lit up, a simple timeline. Dates, times, one audio icon, and then her voice filled the room. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Madison let go of my hands like they'd burned her. She whispered, panicked, "Turn it off." I met her eyes for the first time that day. Not yet. Ryan stood up, started talking fast, saying it was taken out of context. I looked at him calmly, then explained the timestamps. He stopped. The silence was brutal. Madison started crying, saying she was going to tell me that it didn't mean anything, and that was the moment that hurt the most. Because it always means something. It means you made a choice, and then another, and another, hoping the truth would never demand its turn. I stepped back and addressed the room one last time. I said I wouldn't make promises built on lies. That I refused to let my worth be negotiated in private while being celebrated in public. Then I turned and walked down the aisle alone. No shouting, no drama, just the sound of a story collapsing behind me. Outside, the air felt different, lighter, like I could breathe for the first time in hours. People later called it revenge. But here's the truth. Revenge would have been staying and letting that betrayal rot me from the inside. What I did was refuse to disappear to keep the peace. After that day, the fallout was loud. Opinions everywhere. Some people said I humiliated her. Others said I did what I had to do. Ryan tried to spin it. Madison tried to explain. I didn't engage. I documented everything, handed it to my lawyer, and focused on one thing. Not letting this define me as a victim. Healing wasn't cinematic. It was quiet, uncomfortable. Therapy sessions where I had to admit how often I'd ignored my own instincts to seem easygoing. Mornings where I woke up angry for no clear reason. Evenings where the silence felt too loud. But slowly, something shifted. I stopped replaying the ceremony. I stopped wondering what I could have done differently. I started asking a better question. Why did I think being chosen meant being valued? Months later, I ran into Ryan again by accident. He looked smaller somehow, tired. He told me I'd ruined his life. I told him I'd stopped protecting his lies. There's a difference. He walked away without another word, and I felt nothing. No triumph, no bitterness, just distance. That's the part no one talks about. The real win isn't public. It's internal. It's the moment you realize you didn't lose a future. You avoided a lie. I didn't become harder after that. I became clearer. About boundaries, about what I won't tolerate, about the cost of silence. So here's what I want to ask you. Was I wrong for telling the truth publicly, or was I right to refuse a private humiliation? Where do you draw the line between keeping the peace and betraying yourself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue with me if you want. And if you've ever witnessed a lie being protected because it was convenient, tell that story. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't getting revenge. It's choosing yourself even when everyone else wishes you'd stayed quiet.